Rafi and Aisha had been planning their weekend getaway for months, and they finally arrived at the luxurious hotel they had booked. The hotel was beautiful, and the room was perfect, or so they thought. As soon as they entered the room, they began to feel an eerie presence around them. The atmosphere was heavy, and they could feel the hairs on the back of their necks stand up. But they brushed it off, thinking it was just their imagination. As the night progressed, strange things began to happen. The lights flickered on and off, and they heard strange noises coming from the closet. Then, they saw the ghostly figure of a woman in a white dress standing at the foot of their bed. The ghostly figure seemed to be angry and vengeful. She appeared to be seeking revenge on someone, but Rafi and Aisha had no idea who she was after. They tried to leave the room, but the door wouldn't budge. They were trapped. As the night wore on, the ghostly figure became more and more agitated. She started throwing objects around the room, and Rafi and Aisha realized they were in grave danger. Finally, they managed to escape the room and go to the hotel reception, where they told the staff what had happened. The staff was shocked and immediately offered them a different room. But Rafi and Aisha knew they couldn't stay in that hotel any longer. They left the hotel, shaken and traumatized, but grateful to be alive. They knew that they had encountered something supernatural, and they would never forget their haunted hotel room experience. Abir and Jasmin had always been intrigued by abandoned places, so when they heard about an old mansion on the outskirts of town, they knew they had to explore it. They packed their bags and headed out to the mansion, excited to see what secrets it held. As they entered the mansion, they immediately felt an eerie atmosphere around them. The air was thick and heavy, and they could feel something watching them. But they brushed it off, thinking it was just their imagination. As they explored the mansion, strange things began to happen. Doors creaked open and shut on their own, and they heard footsteps in the distance. Then, they saw the ghostly figure of a woman in a white dress standing at the end of the hallway. The ghostly figure seemed to be sad and lost. She appeared to be searching for something, but Abir and Jasmin had no idea what she was looking for. They tried to leave the mansion, but the doors wouldn't budge. They were trapped. As the night wore on, the ghostly figure became more and more agitated. She started throwing objects around the mansion, and Abir and Jasmin realized they were in grave danger. Finally, they managed to escape the mansion and go to the authorities, where they told them what had happened. The authorities were skeptical, but they promised to investigate the mansion. Abir and Jasmin knew that they had encountered something supernatural, and they would never forget their experience. From that day on, they made a pact to never explore abandoned places again, for fear of what they might encounter. But the memory of the ghostly figure in the abandoned mansion would haunt them forever. Rafi and Aisha were on their way back from a friend's wedding, and they decided to take a shortcut through a forest to save time. As they walked through the forest, they began to feel an eerie atmosphere around them. The trees seemed to be closing in on them, and they could feel something watching them. Suddenly, they saw the ghostly figure of a woman in a white dress standing in front of them. She appeared to be lost and searching for something. Rafi and Aisha were terrified, but they couldn't move. The ghostly figure seemed to be beckoning them towards her. As they approached the ghostly figure, they could feel the air around them becoming colder and colder. The ghostly figure then disappeared, and they were left alone in the dark forest. Rafi and Aisha ran out of the forest as fast as they could, not daring to look back. They eventually made it back to their car, but they couldn't shake off the feeling that they had just encountered something supernatural. As they drove away, they saw the ghostly figure once again, standing at the edge of the forest. She appeared to be waving at them, but they knew they had to get away as fast as possible. From that day on, Rafi and Aisha never took shortcuts through forests or dark roads. They knew that they had encountered something beyond explanation, and it would stay with them forever.